Hey, it's Rachel Radha, R&R, rest and relaxation. I like that too. And I'm just checking in on my friends, and I'd love to hear any comments that you have towards how you're feeling, what you're doing with your time. If you're not able to go to work, can you work virtually? If you're a stay-at-home mom, how are you dealing with the children? How is the family? To what extent are you going outside? I'd really love to hear from my friends about all of that. And if you don't feel like talking about it anymore, I certainly get that too. I wanted to share a story that happened to me this morning because it's a fun story. And last night, my son, who was given a pair of AirPods for his birthday from his dad, and they're so small, they're in this little teeny box. I'm not a big fan of them because I don't like things in his ears, but the two of them use them and it makes them happy, and that makes me happy. And he couldn't find them. He was distraught. And he was sure that he had left them in the house before he went out to play. So he went to his iPhone, and in the iPhone you can ping where your AirPods are. I don't know how that works at all. So he puts that on, and it's pinging that the AirPods are right over the kitchen table, sitting there, but there was nothing there. So we looked under, we went through the chairs, we looked in the entire living room area, and after about an hour, I said, let's just stop. And things always look better during the light of day when we have problems, not late at night. He goes to bed and I go to bed, and we got up this morning and he is on Google Classroom through Zoom where everything is live. So he's in school, he can see all of his friends through his computer, and his teacher is there, and the teacher can see what all of these students are doing, and they can all interact and raise their hand and ask questions. It's just a wonderful thing. I watched all day long and it was fascinating. And so he's doing that, and they're getting used to this new way of learning now. And I had this push to go into the garage. And I'd been thinking about these AirPods overnight. You know, of course, I like to solve problems. And so I went out to the garage without much thought because I didn't have a destination in the garage. And once I got into the garage, I saw this old wicker basket full of old football gloves, balls, football flag belts and stuff like this. And I went into the very bottom of the wicker basket, and there are these brand new pair of AirPods. And I'm staring at them in my hand, saying, how did that just happen, right? And by the time I got in the house, I was smiling because I know how that happens. It's happened all my life. And it never ceases to bring this huge smile to my face, which is that our guides are there. There was zero reason for me to leave the kitchen where I was there was no reason to leave the kitchen where I was sitting, sipping coffee, and waddle on out to the garage to get the AirPods that I didn't know were underneath a basket full of junk. And I love those experiences because it just shows how active our non-physical world is. And if we can't see it or smell it or taste it or hear it or touch it, we think it doesn't exist. And that's just a ridiculous notion. That's like me saying, since I can't see California from Florida, it doesn't exist. It's preposterous for us to think that what we have in this small, limited human body is all that there is. Yet we convince ourselves of that day after day, and that's how come we get full of fear, is because it's not enough. It's not enough. And I had a similar experience last week, and I left a video on it where I had a really strong voice that said, don't get on 95, take 441. And I didn't listen. And I got on the road, and within half a mile to a mile, There was a huge pileup on the road, and I was stuck in the rain in traffic for over 2 hours trying to get to my son's school. The voice was so loud saying, don't get on this road, get on that road, and I chose to ignore it. And when clear directions are being given, whether it's because we know something and we have that sense beyond our normal senses that knows, that can feel the vibration, that can feel what's going on, or whether it's from our guides that have the ability to speak to us, whoever or whatever we want to call it, it exists. And I wanted to share it with you because we can all tap into it. But we can't tap into it unless we give it a chance. And we think, okay, I'm going to open the door slightly for this. The next time I hear take a right instead of a left, or the next time I hear pick up the phone and call someone, I'm not going to ignore it. And that's how we learn the craft, is to listen to it and to learn when it's an ego talking to us or when it's a real idea that is being vibrationally sent to us. And since even when we die, the energy cannot die because energy can't die. So I don't need to get into any arguments about that as far as religion and burials and all of this stuff. But the fact that energy can't die means that there is a carryover of spirit, of intelligence, that we have access to if we allow it in. So I thought that that would be fun to have a story that was kind of fun like that. All is well in the world again. Electronics are restored. And I hope everyone is doing as well as they can be. And I hope that soon, God willing, we will all be able to kiss and hug and communicate and be merry and be safe. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.